This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Iraq plans to raise oil production capacity to more than 6 million barrels per day, BPD, by 2029, the state news agency reported Iraq's oil ministry is saying on Sunday. Oil Ministry Under-Secretary Bassem Mohammad Khoder told the agency that Iraq aims to achieve its target through oil exploration and nationwide drilling activity, pointing to a recent deal with oil major BP to redevelop 4 Kirkuk oil and gas fields. It is the second largest producer within the OPEC Plus group and last month reaffirmed commitment to the group's output agreement. Iraq also said it would present an updated plan to compensate for any previous overproduction.
Oil prices slipped on Monday as investors assessed the outlook for ceasefire talks aimed at ending the Russia-Ukraine war, which could lead to an increase in Russian oil to global markets. Brent crude futures were down 25 cents, or 0.4%, at $71.91 a barrel by 0409 GMT. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude fell 20 cents, or 0.3%, to $68.08. Both benchmarks settled higher on Friday and recorded a second consecutive weekly gain as fresh U.S. sanctions on Iran and the latest output plan from the OPEC Plus producer group raised expectations of tighter supply.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
There is something positive for every type of energy in the International Energy Agency's latest global review, but the loudest cheers will be from renewables and natural gas. The world's energy demand grew at 2.2% in 2024, a pace described as faster than average by the IEA in its Global Energy Review, released on Monday. The acceleration was led by emerging and developing economies, which accounted for more than 80% of the growth, while the leading sector was electricity, which grew by 4.3% in 2024, or nearly double the annual average of the past decade.
Ukrainian and U.S. delegations discussed on Sunday proposals to protect energy facilities and critical infrastructure, Ukraine's defense minister said, part of a diplomatic push by U.S. President Donald Trump to end 3 years of war. The meeting in Saudi Arabia, which precedes talks on Monday between the U.S. and Russian delegations, came as U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff expressed optimism about the chances for ending Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II. I feel that Russian President Vladimir Putin wants peace, Witkoff told Fox News on Sunday. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Iron ore futures strengthened on Monday as brightening demand for the key steelmaking ingredient in top consumer China outweighed U.S. tariff concerns. The most traded May iron ore contract on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange climbed 1.97% to 776 yuan, $106.90, a metric ton as of 0255 GMT. The benchmark April iron ore on the Singapore Exchange advanced 1.49% to $101.40 a ton. Production among China's independent electric arc furnace steel producers increased further this week in response to the continuous recovery of domestic steel demand, said consultancy MySteel.
Copper prices in London edged higher on Monday, tracking some weakness in the dollar, although concerns over looming U.S. tariffs checked gains. Benchmark 3-month copper on the London Metals Exchange was up 0.8% to $9,929.05 a metric ton, as of 0222 GMT. The dollar drifted just below a 3-week high versus major peers, as traders cautiously awaited clarity on U.S. President Donald Trump's next round of tariffs. A weaker U.S. currency makes dollar-priced metals cheaper for buyers using other currencies.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Thai rice export prices fell to a more than 2-year low this week, weighed down by weak demand and rising supplies, while India's rice export prices held steady near a 21-month low. Thailand's 5% broken rice dropped to $405 per metric ton, hitting its lowest level since late October 2022 and touching the lower end of last week's quoted range of $405 to $408 per metric ton. Demand has been very quiet and it looks like it will be like this for the next 2 to 3 months, a Bangkok trader said. It's very worrying, because India and Vietnamese rice prices are very low. Regular customers are buying as needed. There is an oversupply in the market, said the trader.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.